I sat in the airplane seat, staring out of the window at the city below. The bustling streets, the shimmering lights, they felt so distant from the discomfort I was about to face. As a successful entrepreneur, I'd worked tirelessly to build my business. But nothing could have prepared me for what was about to unfold in the air. I'm Ava, and like many others, I've had my fair share of experiences with racism. But today, it wasn't just about a subtle glance or an offhand remark. It was about something much more blatant. Something that would make my skin crawl and my heart ache. As soon as I boarded the plane, I noticed the crew's dismissive stares. I didn't think much of it at first. After all, I was used to walking into rooms where I wasn't exactly welcome. But today, it was different. Today, I wasn't just an entrepreneur. I was a black woman in a sea of passengers who didn't look like me. I made my way down the aisle, past the flight attendants who refused to make eye contact. When I reached my seat, I sat down and buckled up. But that's when the whispers started. It wasn't just me. I could feel the tension in the air. The crew was acting as if I didn't belong. I could hear their hushed tones, their condescending glances, and their dismissive behavior. The captain, a man in his late 50s, passed by without a word. The flight attendants didn't even offer a smile, let alone the usual pleasantries. I tried to shake it off. I focused on my phone, scanning through emails, pretending not to notice. But it was hard to ignore. The moment the plane took off, the crew's attitudes became more apparent. I asked for a drink, and the attendant rolled her eyes, offering me a glass of water as if she was doing me a favor. When I politely asked for a coffee instead, she huffed and walked away without so much as a word. I felt the sting of it. The subtle rejection. But it didn't stop there. Every time I asked for something, there was an undertone of irritation. It was like I wasn't even worth the effort to be treated like a paying customer. I was about to get up and ask to speak with the flight manager when something incredible happened. The captain, who had earlier ignored me, made an announcement over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking," he said, his voice calm and steady. "I'd like to personally welcome you aboard this flight, especially to those who are traveling with us for the first time. I hope you all enjoy your journey." And then, he paused. I looked up, wondering if I had imagined it. But no. He was looking directly at me now. "I'd also like to extend a personal message to a very special passenger on board today. Ava, I'm so glad you're here. Your leadership and influence in the business world are something to be admired. As the CEO of this airline, I want you to know that you are seen, you are respected, and you are more than welcome here." I froze. The whole cabin fell silent. The murmurs stopped. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The words that had been spoken were so simple, but they carried such weight. The flight crew, the ones who had been ignoring me, were now looking at me. They were all stunned. I could see the shift in their eyes. The captain continued, "Ava, thank you for being here. You are my queen today, and for the rest of this flight. To the crew, I hope you all take note." I could feel my heart race. For the first time on this plane, I felt seen, heard, and valued. But the crew? They didn't know what hit them. The captain's words were not just an acknowledgement of me but a statement about what respect should look like. He didn't just offer an apology or a few kind words, he made a stand. He made it clear that this wasn't just about customer service. This was about dignity. About equality. And it was something I would never forget. The flight went on, but it wasn't the same. The crew couldn't ignore me anymore. I could see the discomfort in their faces as they went about their duties. Their attempts to serve me with a smile fell flat. The moment the plane landed, I was the first one off. But not before the captain walked up to me personally. "I hope you have a wonderful stay," he said, his smile genuine. And as for the crew, he didn't need to say more. I knew exactly what was coming. As I made my way down the gangway, I overheard the flight attendants whispering to one another, their voices tinged with embarrassment. And when I stepped outside, the last thing I heard was the captain's voice, telling them to gather. The next day, I woke up to a message from the airline's HR department. The flight crew had been terminated. Every last one of them. The reason was clear: racism. And it wasn't just about what they did on the flight. It was about the fact that they had failed to recognize my worth as a person. It wasn't about punishment. It wasn't about seeking revenge. It was about creating a space where people like me would never again have to endure such treatment. It was about justice. But it didn't end there. I was offered a meeting with the CEO. "Ava," he said when I walked into his office, "you've always been a trailblazer in your field. Today, you've shown us what true leadership looks like. You've reminded us all that no one is above respect, and I want to personally apologize for the way you were treated." I smiled, feeling empowered. "Thank you," I replied. "But it's not just about me. It's about everyone who's ever felt like they didn't belong. Everyone who's ever been overlooked. Today is for them." And that's how it happened. That's how an airline made an example out of the wrongs that so many of us face every day. They learned that racism doesn't just hurt the person it's directed at. It hurts everyone. It damages relationships. It tears communities apart. But when we speak up, when we make our voices heard, we start to rebuild. I'll never forget that flight, or the man who called me my queen. It wasn't just the words he said, but the actions that followed. It was proof that sometimes, change starts with a single voice. And in that moment, it felt like the world finally had its ears open. Justice was served, not just to me, but to everyone who has ever been silenced, ignored, or pushed aside. And I'll carry that lesson with me, forever.